Dreaming is a very complex and significant phenomenon in human life. Hardly anyone understands the importance with which dreams should be treated, and it's really strange that when you research this subject, it feels like no one really has a clue why we dream. Mainstream science doesn't know what dreams are and what purpose they serve. Scientists don't even know why we sleep, as from a biological perspective, it seems that this activity has no real purpose. And there are many animals on Earth that don't need to sleep at all, such as butterflies, bullfrogs, jellyfish, baby sharks, orcas, and whales. What's interesting is that dreaming is not a unique human trait, as animals have dreams too. An average human spends about a quarter of a century asleep, during which 6 years of this period are spent dreaming. Yet, despite most of us having about 1,500 dreams a year, which equals about 4 dreams per night, most of us forget up to 99% of what we dream. There are many people who don't remember any of their dreams at all, and it seems that the memory recording process of the brain is switched off during sleep. Most of the dreams we have are not profound and are linked to thoughts or events from the previous day or two. It seems most of what we dream is absurdities created by brains that are overloaded with information throughout the day, and it appears that the synapses are simply trying to relax the brain at night. The quality of our dreams usually depends on the stage of sleep in which they occur. The dreams that we have during the deepest REM phase tend to be the most vivid and detailed, and they usually have a storyline. Dreams that occur in other stages are much simpler and shorter, except for when you sleep for too long and you go beyond the typical 7 to 8 hours. For some reason, this is when things get really crazy. It might seem that our dreams are simply a reflection of our subconscious desires, fears, preferences, and unresolved issues. Childhood dreams are, for some reason, much shorter than adult dreams, and almost half of them are nightmares, which would support the theory of dreams being simply a coping mechanism. The bad dreams we have are, in reality, not driven by fear, but what's interesting is that the main themes in them are confusion, disgust, sadness, and guilt. Despite what you might think about dreams, only about 4% of them are about sex, and what's really interesting is that you're more likely to have them if you sleep face down. These are the typical mainstream science facts that you'll find, which explain absolutely nothing, as science doesn't really go deep into exploring this phenomenon. Yet, dreaming, as it turns out, is a very important metaphysical element of our life that we should be paying a lot of attention to. It is also a very useful tool that we don't take advantage of, and I'm about to tell you what dreams really are, why they are one of the most bizarre elements of our lives, and I'm going to tell you how to control dreaming and how to use it to change and improve your human experience on Earth. This video was supposed to be recorded about 8 months ago, and it's been on my hard drive for a long time, but as you know, I'm busy building something incredible for all of us, and I wanted to ask you to support me, the channel, and our community. Please donate using one of the methods listed in the video description. We're all used to consuming online content for free, but these videos actually take a lot of time and energy to create, and it will help me a lot if you could offer support in return. If you want to understand your dreams or talk to me about what goes on at night in your brain, schedule a consultation and maybe I can help you with it. Thank you for your support. There is something really strange about dreams that I want you to understand. Imagine that you never had a single dream and you know nothing about them, but suddenly, one night, you have your first one. This would be the most bizarre and otherworldly experience of your life. It's like having permission to be safely insane every night. It's not just what they represent, but how they are connected to our earthly lives and how psychedelic they are. I'm going to give you a few examples that are usually unexplained and ignored by mainstream science. We're visited and we communicate with the dead through and during our dreams. It is common knowledge. I remember when I was a child, my grandmother woke up in the morning and said out loud, "My mother is dead." A few hours later, I brought her a telegram saying that she actually had passed away. It was the 80s, and they were hundreds of miles away from each other without any ability to communicate. We didn't even have a phone. A few years later, the same grandmother was visited in her dream by a friend of hers who had died after being electrocuted by unprotected wires. He appeared to her as an angel to talk to her about the nature of life on Earth. There are books written about how people start getting premonition dreams about 2 years prior to them dying. The closer to the date, the more intense the dreams become. In fact, many people can accurately predict the future based on their dreams. This is connected to something called déjà rêvé, where suddenly we remember that what's happening right now actually happened in one of our previous dreams. You might remember the video I made about lying, in which I explained how interdimensional entities came to me in my dreams to offer hidden information about what someone close to me was lying about constantly. This process went on for a year and helped me learn about aspects of the life of that person to which I had no access. Many inventors and designers get help or inspiration in their dreams that allows them to come up with groundbreaking creations. I myself, while working on an electronic circuit, couldn't figure out why it didn't work until one night I had a dream about the key components being installed upside down. Once I woke up, I realized that while reproducing the schematic of the device, I had mistakenly created a mirror version of it and all the parts were installed in the wrong order. I fixed it and everything worked perfectly. I've been actually relying on dreams for solving many of my problems. There are a lot of people who do that. There's also this bizarre aspect where we dream elaborate scenarios of things that might have happened to us, but we have no recollection of them. In my case, for years, I've been dreaming about accidentally killing someone and hiding their body wrapped in a carpet in a shed close to a river. With every dream, the scene becomes clearer with new details added to the story. And it's not just the images, but the whole emotional aspect and sensory elements that make it hyper-realistic. Talking about hyperrealism, very often we have dreams that contain the element of time dilation. Recently, I had a dream that lasted for literally 3 days about winning the lottery, and I remember within that dream I went to sleep hoping that I wouldn't wake up realizing that it was a dream. I was thinking about how to spend the money, planning what to do with it, and it was the craziest thing ever, as it was clearly an alternative timeline type of scenario. Waking up from it felt like someone had kidnapped me out of another dimension and placed me in a different, incompatible one. And these dreams happen to all of us. There is also this interesting phenomenon of shared dreams, and I'm sure you might have experienced it with someone else where you both dream about the same thing the same night. In fact, very often there are large groups of people who, when exchanging their dream reports, discover that they all had the same dream for some reason. It happened to me on a few occasions, and from what I remember, once I even heard it mentioned on the news. Many people also report cases of dream telepathy, where they communicate while being asleep. This happened to me once, but I wasn't actually asleep. It was the other person who was asleep, and they had a dream about a turtle, while I, sitting next to them, had the exact same thought about a turtle. A long time ago, when I was finishing high school, I had a dream about a friend of mine who was lost, and I was standing on a bridge looking for her. I couldn't find her, and I knew that she was crying and was disturbed, which was weird as she was always a happy girl. Recently, I found out that she had a failed suicide attempt, and it turns out that in my dream she was actually trying to show me what she was struggling with in reality, something that no one in my class knew about back then. One very unpleasant and disturbing aspect of dreaming is sleep paralysis, where you wake up in the middle of the night unable to move, but you know that you're in a different reality or that you're accompanied by another being. I could go on forever giving you more and more examples, but the deeper you go into this aspect of earthly existence, the more you realize that all of this has a very simple common denominator. I spent many years collecting all the available metaphysical information explaining this, and eventually, I got to a point where I realized that I think I can offer you a clear picture of what dreaming really is. It wasn't that difficult, you just need to open your mind and connect the dots. Apparently, in ancient Mesopotamia, it was common knowledge that dreams are used to access other realities, including the afterlife. In old Hindu scriptures, it says that it has been known for thousands of years that people are reincarnated back into this world to eventually break the cycle of reincarnation by understanding the truth about life, which is that this world is not real, and that it's actually our reality that is closer to a dream rather than the other way around. All the supernatural aspects of dreaming prove it. Many who come back from near-death experiences say that what they experienced felt 100 times more realistic than what we experience on Earth. You see, the same dream state and the communication within it can be induced by meditation, hypnosis, NDE, and of course, psychedelics. What we're doing right now is actually starring in our own Inception-style movie, where we live in a dream within a dream while the reality is somewhere else. Dreams are supposed to help you wake up and realize what earthly life is about. The ongoing activity of the mind while dreaming, with your body being motionless, simply proves that your soul is independent from your organic vessel. Consider that blind people see images in their dreams. This and the psychedelic nature of our dreams proves that we're experiencing something completely out of the ordinary, something not related to the physical earthly life. Have you noticed that when you dream about flying, it feels very natural, as if you have been doing this forever? Well, that's what you do in the spirit world. You're not physical and you float and fly. Scientists have made a discovery that the brain state while being awake and asleep is almost identical, with the only difference being the stimuli from the outside world that shape the images we perceive in the brain. I'll repeat, it has been scientifically proven that there's no difference to the brain whether you're asleep or awake. That's why many of us experience what is called dream incorporation, where elements from physical reality like alarm clocks or dripping water change the story in our dream. Although we can only dream about faces we've seen in this earthly world, the psychedelic nature of dreams proves that they cannot be a product of our brains, mainly because they relate to and contain memories and aspects of existence that are not known to us on Earth. Here is the explanation of what dreams really are. Once you decide to reincarnate on Earth and you pick a body, you go through the process of adjusting while you're still in your mother's womb. This takes a few months and consists of you entering the body and leaving it constantly until you merge and become well adjusted to each other. Although you're in your body, you're still a spiritual being that can come and go, and that's what you do after you're born. That's why infants sleep for so long. Every day, you leave your body to be your true spiritual self at night. As you grow older, dreams become metaphoric clues that allow you to compare your previous lives with the current one. A lot of your revelations and memories are simply reflections of experiences in your previous incarnations. You dream so that you don't have to be away from home for so long, and because we're engaged in a false sense of separation, dreams allow us to communicate at night with other souls so that we're not detached from each other for too long. We also test different life scenarios, and that's why we have sex dreams with other people, which would be impossible in our current life. What's more, dreams are a window to your subconscious and your higher self. They allow you to understand who you truly are and what you've already been through. The end date of your life is fixed, and you decide about it when you pick a body to come to Earth. Your higher self acts as a timer in your dreams, reminding you to get ready. As your higher self is very intelligent, it offers you some of its abilities at night. That's why you can solve your earthly problems. The spirits or psychedelic entities also use your dream state to get access to you when necessary and to help you with your mission here. That's something I experience a lot. What you need to understand is that we're also being coached and led by our spiritual guides in the dream state, because that's when our mind is open to suggestion and reception. The human brain is highly flawed and very simple, as explained by the entities in psychedelic states. These imperfections and simplicity can disturb message transmission. That's why other spirits communicate with us using images or short and clear messages in our dream state. This is why you gain abilities for problem solving or receiving clues from them on how to move forward in life. This is also the main method through which our loved ones communicate with us after they leave this earthly reality. Not only do they come back to finish unresolved problems, but they also help us by alleviating the pain and offering relief from the sorrow we experience after losing them or someone close to us. I've uploaded many videos about my experiences of talking to the dead. Dream symbolism works on many levels, but two elements are constant. They're abstract and emotional. Dreams are the language of the metaphysical that allows you to access your subconscious and your higher self, both of which do not reside on Earth. Every night, you connect with your home, the spirit world. This is why you get sleep paralysis, because your body very often doesn't wake up, but your mind does. That's why you have dream telepathy and shared dreams. You simply go back to the world where everything's possible and where you become highly intelligent again, and you can solve problems and predict the future. That's why you have so many memories of a life you don't remember living on Earth, as in dreams you regain access to your spirit's memory. It's a window for your soul to communicate with other dimensions, and it is very useful to learn how to navigate it. And this is how it's done. Let's start by explaining that your body is regulating your ability to dream. You're more likely to have positive and pleasant dreams when you're happy and not stressed. High frequency in the wake state is the key to accessing the dream state later at night. Pregnant women remember dreams better because of their hormonal changes during pregnancy, which means that you need to get rid of everything that negatively affects your system. Alcohol is a major disruptor for healthy dreaming as it slows brain activity in the cortex, resulting in deep, slow-wave sleep rather than the REM phase of sleep. Other important factors that disrupt the sleeping pattern are prescription drugs for regulating the endocrine system, for controlling blood pressure, and for treating neurological disorders. They should be avoided. It's also important to control the timing of your last meal. Your body doesn't really digest anything properly after 6 p.m., and eating late causes nightmares. The same applies to caffeine, which significantly changes the human nervous system over time and causes sleep deprivation or even insomnia. Vitamin B complex, especially vitamin B6, and some herbs like St. John's wort are known for their dream-enhancing abilities. Some of those helpful substances are also nicotine and melatonin. Of course, historically, psychedelics have been acting as an enormous enhancement for sleep and dreams. It is crucial to program your dreams before falling asleep. Relax and concentrate on what you want to experience in your sleep. Create a desired scenario and approach it in your imagination from different angles. Once you do, you will most likely initiate this dream sequence after falling asleep. Your dreams are your access to the metaphysical, so don't limit yourself to only probable scenarios. Remember that anything is possible in your dreams, and this 3D or 4D approach will help you generate the desired effect. Find answers to unresolved issues by concentrating on a given aspect throughout the day and intensifying your analytic thought processing right before you fall asleep. Ask direct questions in your head or even out loud. Keep doing it for days and see what happens. The same can be done to get closure with someone who's no longer on Earth. Think about the person you want to talk to. Use memories or create hypothetical scenarios involving them. Talk to them and ask questions before going to sleep. They need to be notified that you want to and that you are ready to talk to them. You know that amazing feeling throughout the day after having a pleasant dream? Use this phenomenon of nocturnal emotions heavily affecting you after waking up to start your day in a positive way. Dreams can be a powerful tool for healing and achieving higher frequencies if you want them to be. In order for all of this to be possible, you can initiate and control lucid dreaming, which is probably the easiest method. This is the state between dimensions where you're still not fully asleep, but you're already leaving your body. Once you learn how to control your consciousness in this state, you will be able to astrally project, which means accessing your non-physical spiritual self and other dimensions. It takes time and is difficult to learn, but it is something that many people do. I'm not an expert on this, so you can learn this from somebody else, and there are many books describing this process. We would need a separate video on that subject. Because you forget almost everything you dream about, within the first 10 minutes of waking up, you need to get into the habit of writing down everything the moment you wake up, and it's useful to have a notepad or a phone next to your bed. It's important to record everything that you remember. Even though most of the dreams will seem meaningless, they can become important after a while, and it's a good idea to review them occasionally. Once you do all of this and you start dreaming consciously and predictably, you'll be able to use the gift of dreamtime communication with other souls, your guides, and your higher self. Remember that dreams simply act as a portal to the spirit world, and they are an illustration of what your soul is really doing when it's not attached to the physical. It's like a window into the true form of your soul. Your conscious mind is too busy during the day and too preoccupied with this dense, low-frequency reality you're immersed in. But your higher self is always there, trying to speak to you, and it's up to you if you want to learn how to listen to it. It's all a matter of you learning its language. Good luck! Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, please share it, and please consider sponsoring this channel with methods listed on the screen now. Your support is much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe and follow. Like this video and share it with everyone you care about. For merchandise, go to shop.b434.com. Leave your email address at news.b434.com. Visit the website of the artist and the musician I featured here. For more info or contact, visit b434.com and join 434's social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Telegram, VK, TikTok, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, and a few other ones you can see on the screen now. All links in the video description and at b434.com.